Welcome to the PNDS assembly tutorial. In this video, we will guide you through the step-by-step process of assembling the Precision Nano Displacement sensor. If you haven't done so already, verify the contents of your package with the packing list. We have a separate video covering each item you'll receive with your shipment. We will begin by setting up the feet for the tables, which are contained in these boxes. Inside each box, you'll find 4 rubber feet and a bag with matching posts. Take one of these posts and screw it into the hole located on the center of the foot. Simply tighten it by hand until it stops. Repeat this process to set up all 8 feet. Next, we'll attach the feet to 2 tables. There are 4 holes in the corners of each table where the feet will be inserted. Simply take a foot, insert it into one of the holes, and turn it by hand until it's tight. Repeat this for all 8 feet on both tables. We won't need the smaller table for a few steps, so set it aside for now. The next thing we'll do is mount the translation stage to the larger table. It will be mounted to these set of holes. You can confirm that you're using the correct mounting holes by checking the bottom of the table and looking for the mounting holes which are countersunk. For this step, we'll need a 4mm hex key and a set of bolts that come in this bag. Remove the bolts from the bag and set them down. When mounted, the controls in the translation stage must be accessible from the front, so orient the stage on the table as shown, with the upper dial extending towards the logo on the table. The easiest way we found to mount the translation stage is to lift it vertically with the stage in the correct orientation. On the opposite side, take the bolts and tighten each of them by hand. Then, use the 4mm hex key to further tighten each bolt until they're snug. The next step is to mount the PNDS switchboard. This will attach to the final set of mounting holes on the larger table. The board has exposed solder joints on the bottom, and since the table is made of metal, we don't want to set it directly on the table. So, you'll need a set of standoffs and a Phillips head screwdriver, as well as a wrench. The standoffs come in 3 parts, a screw and a standoff which are held in place by these nuts. Separate these 3 pieces. You may need to use a screwdriver to do so. Orient the board as shown, making sure that the ports point away from the center of the table. Insert a screw into one of the holes on the board and insert a matching standoff on the opposite side. Repeat this for all 4 screws and standoffs. With the board in place, lift the table slightly and hand tighten the nuts on the exposed screws. Finally, tighten the screws with the screwdriver while holding the nuts in place with the wrench. Now that the larger table is set up, the smaller table can once again be set inside of the larger table. You can then take the AFM and set it on top of this smaller table. The AFM is not mounted to this table, allowing it to be moved crudely to align with the camera later on. The next thing we'll do is build the camera gantry and install the camera. The gantry comes in 3 pieces: a pole, a ring, and an arm. The pole will be mounted using these bolts onto the translation stage. You will also need a 3mm hex key to tighten the bolts. Place the pole onto the translation stage and line up the holes. Then insert and tighten each bolt. Next, take the ring piece and install it onto the pole roughly 3/4 of the way up. You may need to readjust this later on. Then, set the arm piece on the pole on top of the ring while making sure that the arched portion of the arm is facing down. Now it's time to install the camera itself. Begin by removing the lens cap from the camera. Then, loosen the set screw on the tip of the arm. Now you can simply take the camera and lens assembly and slide it into the hole on the arm, tightening the set screw afterwards. Most of the assembly is now complete, and the majority of the following steps will be cable connections. Start by placing your Radiant Technologies Precision Materials Tester nearby. Then place the electronics box next to the AFM. The first cable we'll connect is this green ground cable that is attached to the AFM. There's a matching one on the E-box that we'll be connecting it to. Simply take these matching cables and connect them. Note the ports on the back of the AFM and the E-box. There are 2 ports near the middle of the AFM and 1 near the top of the E-box that will not be used for our purposes. The port that we are interested in is this long connection along the bottom. The cable that we'll connect here is a large ribbon cable that will first unroll. Take note of the fact that the connector is keyed, meaning it can only be inserted one way. With the cable unrolled, take one of the ends and line it up with a port on the back of the E-box, keeping the key in mind. Firmly press the cable into the port. You'll know that the locking clips are engaged when you hear a distinct click noise. Install the opposite end of the cable onto the matching port on the back of the AFM, again listening for the click. Next, we'll install the lamp for the camera. Begin by loosening the set screw on the camera. Then, simply insert the lamp and tighten the set screw. The other end of the lamp then connects into the lamp controller. And finally, connect the C8 power cable to the lamp controller. You can now also connect power cables to all of the equipment, such as the tester and E-box. We will now make the connections between the tester, E-box, and PNDS board, starting with the I2C cable. Connect one end of the cable into the PNDS board, and the other end into the port on the E-box. Then, take another I2C cable and connect it once again to the PNDS board. This time, connect the opposite end into the I2C port on the tester. Next, we will be making the BNC connections. We'll start by connecting one of the BNC cables to the drive port on the back of the tester. Take the other end of the cable and connect this to the matching drive port on the PNDS board. Now take another BNC cable and connect it to the return port on the PNDS board. And connect the opposite end to the return port on the back of the tester. Next, connect another BNC cable to the sensor 1 port on the back of the tester. Connect the opposite end of this cable to the sensor 1 port on the E-box. Now connect a BNC to the sensor 2 port and connect the opposite end to the sensor 2 port on the back of the tester. To wrap up cable connections, we'll connect 3 USB cables to the computer that will be used to manage the equipment. Connect 1 USB to the camera, 1 to the E-box, and 1 to the tester. And of course, connect all of these USB cables to your computer. With that, the assembly of the PNDS is complete. Join us in our next video where we'll cover the cantilever and step reference setup.